Eat 30 g of protein. Before 9 a.m. to melt belly fat. I was skeptical. And I mean deeply skeptical. The idea that a simple tweak to my breakfast could finally tackle my stubborn belly fat and shut down my afternoon sugar cravings? Yeah, right. It sounded like every other hollow promise I'd been chasing for a decade. I've done it all. I've done crunches until my abs begged for mercy, only to see the same old paunch staring back from the mirror. I've choked down sad, joyless salads for lunch, pretending to love every bland bite while my stomach screamed in protest. I've sworn off carbs with religious fervor, then face-planted into a box of donuts a week later, drowning in guilt. And the afternoons were my personal nightmare. Around 3 p.m., a switch would flip. A thick brain fog would roll in, my energy would hit rock bottom, and a primal, overwhelming need for sugar would take over. It wasn't a want, it was a demand. Chocolate, cookies, one of those ridiculously sugary coffee drinks, anything to just survive the workday. I felt like I was doing everything right, working out, eating healthy, but this annoying layer of fat around my middle refused to leave, and my willpower was shot by 5 p.m. Then I started hearing whispers about this 30 grams of protein rule. It was all over the place, popping up in fitness forums, going viral on TikTok thanks to figures like biologist Gary Brecka, and even getting a nod in books like Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Body. The premise was almost insultingly simple. Eat 30 grams of protein shortly after waking up, or at least before 9 a.m. The people promoting it claimed it was a metabolic game changer, the one weird trick to kill cravings and help burn belly fat. Honestly, I wrote it off as another fad. How could breakfast, a meal I usually skipped or just had coffee for, possibly be the key I was missing? It felt way too good to be true, but I was also desperate. The frustration of working so hard and seeing zero results was grinding me down. So, with a huge dose of skepticism, I decided to give it a shot. I'd put this rule to the test for 1 full week. I would eat at least 30 grams of protein every single morning before 9 a.m. and track everything. The results after just 7 days. Well, they were not what I expected at all. The rule and the plan. Before I tell you what happened, let's break down what this rule actually is and the theory behind why it is supposed to work. The most extreme version you might see online is the 30-30-30 rule, that 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking, followed by 30 minutes of low-intensity cardio. For my experiment, I zeroed in on what seemed to be the most critical part, the 30 grams of protein before 9 a.m. The whole idea is to break your overnight fast with a nutrient that sets a completely different tone for the rest of the day. When you wake up, your body's been fasting for 8 to 10 hours and starts breaking down tissue for energy. What you eat first really matters. The typical breakfast, cereal, toast, a muffin, or a sugary coffee, is loaded with simple carbs. This can send a rush of sugar into your bloodstream, which causes your insulin levels to go way up. Sure, you get a quick burst of energy, but what often follows is the dreaded crash. Some researchers believe that crash is what leaves you feeling foggy, tired, and desperately craving more sugar just a few hours later. It's a real roller coaster. The theory behind the high-protein breakfast is that it helps you sidestep that whole cycle. Protein affects your body differently. First, it's a champion of satiety, the feeling of being full and satisfied. It does this by influencing your hunger hormones, helping to suppress ghrelin, the one that screams, "I'm hungry," while boosting hormones that tell your brain you're full. Some studies, including a few using fMRI brain scans on adolescents, have even suggested a high-protein breakfast can reduce the brain signals tied to food motivation and reward-driven eating later in the day. In plain English, it might just quiet down that little voice in your head that screams for a cookie at 3 p.m. Second, protein has a higher thermic effect of food, TEF. This just means your body uses more energy to digest protein compared to fats and carbs. It's not a magic bullet for fat loss, but it does give you a slight metabolic edge. Finally, giving your body a hit of protein in the morning provides the building blocks, amino acids, that your muscles need. This helps shift your body from a breakdown state to a building state, which is key for holding on to lean muscle, especially if you're trying to lose fat. So my plan was set. For 7 days, I'd eat a breakfast with at least 30 grams of protein. I decided not to change my lunch or dinner habits because I wanted to see if this one change could really make a difference on its own. I was still doubtful. 30 grams of protein is more than you think. It's not 1 or 2 eggs. We're talking more like 5 large eggs, or a big old cup and a half of Greek yogurt. This was going to take some planning. I stocked up on eggs and Greek yogurt, found some recipes, and got ready for what I figured would be a week of force-feeding myself bland, heavy breakfasts. The experiment in action, a daily diary. Day 1. The savory start. My alarm buzzed and my first thought was, all right, here we go. I stumbled to the kitchen, walked right past the coffee maker and opened the fridge. Today's special. Scrambled eggs with cottage cheese. It sounded substantial. I whisked 3 large eggs, about 21 g of protein, with a half cup of low-fat cottage cheese, another 14 g. I tossed in some spinach, cooked it all up, and had it with a slice of whole grain toast. Total protein, around 35 grams. It was a lot of food. I'm used to a quick coffee or nothing at all, so this felt like a full-on dinner. I ate it slowly and finished around 7:45 a.m. The immediate effect was this deep sense of fullness. Not bloated, just solid, satisfied. By 10 a.m., my usual time for a coffee and a pastry I'd later regret, I felt fine. No hunger, no distractions. I just worked. At lunch, I ate my usual meal, but noticed I put a little less on my plate without even thinking about it. The real test was 3 p.m. I braced for impact, and nothing. The fog never rolled in. The sugar monster was silent. It was weird. I felt a steady, calm energy I hadn't felt in years. Day 2. The sweet and speedy parfait. I woke up feeling pretty darn good. To avoid getting bored, I went sweet today with a Greek yogurt parfait. This was way easier. I layered about 1.5 cups of plain Greek yogurt, that's a solid 35-40 grams of protein right there, with berries, a sprinkle of chia seeds, and a spoonful of almond butter. It took less than 5 minutes to throw together. It was creamy, delicious, and felt like a treat. And again, that feeling of satiety was undeniable. That giant bowl of yogurt kept me full all morning long. The afternoon was a repeat of day 1. No crash, no cravings. I even felt like I had more gas in the tank at the gym after work. I started to think, okay, maybe this isn't a fluke. Day 3. The turning point. Today was the day it really hit me. I was deep into a project at work when I glanced at the clock, 3:45 p.m. I actually froze. I had completely forgotten about the 3 p.m. slump. It wasn't that I fought off a craving. The craving just never showed up to the fight. It was gone. The desperate, clawing need for sugar that had ruled my afternoons for years was just absent. Breakfast had been 3 pre-made egg muffins, eggs, sausage, and peppers with some cottage cheese on the side. Protein count, roughly 30 grams. In the blender went 1 scoop of vanilla whey protein, around 25 g, a tablespoon of peanut butter, half a banana, a handful of spinach, you can't taste it, I swear, and a cup of unsweetened almond milk. Total protein, just over 30 grams. It tasted like a breakfast milkshake. Delicious, and I drank it on the go. The verdict? It was surprisingly filling, though I did notice the satiety didn't last quite as long as with the solid meals. I felt a little hungry around 11:30 a.m., an hour earlier than the other days. But the afternoon held strong. No crash, no cravings. It proved to be a great option for days with zero time. Day 5, the fancy 5-minute breakfast. I wanted to prove to myself that high protein didn't have to be boring. So I tried something a little more elegant, a smoked salmon tartine. It sounds complicated, but it's ridiculously fast. I toasted a thick slice of Ezekiel bread, spread it with a bit of goat cheese, and topped it with about 4 ounces of smoked salmon. Total protein, easily over 30 grams. This was a game changer for my taste buds. Savory, fresh, and it felt super gourmet for a Tuesday morning. It took less than 5 minutes to put together and kept me full and focused all morning. This taught me that variety is everything if you want to stick with something. Days 6 and 7. The weekend test. Weekends are where good intentions go to die, right? But I woke up on Saturday actually wanting my protein breakfast. I made a batch of protein pancakes using a recipe with oats, cottage cheese, eggs, and protein powder. They were fluffy, satisfying, and kept me from mindlessly snacking all afternoon while I was out running errands. By the end of day 7, I felt like a different person. My energy was steady, my mind was clear, and the constant food noise in my head was gone. I wasn't obsessing over my next snack or dreading the afternoon slump. The experiment was over, but I knew this was just the beginning. The big reveal, the results. So after 1 week of eating 30 grams of protein before 9 a.m., what really happened? I went into this expecting to feel a little less bloated, maybe. I did not expect it to have such a huge impact on my daily life. Let's start with the most immediate change, the complete disappearance of my afternoon sugar cravings. I'm not saying I used willpower to fight them off. They just weren't there. That 3 p.m. energy crash that felt like a law of physics? Gone. I had sustained level energy from morning until evening. That alone felt like a miracle. This personal experience seems to line up with research suggesting high-protein breakfasts can reduce brain signals tied to food cravings and reward-driven eating. The second major result was appetite control. I was simply less hungry all day. I stopped snacking, not because I was forcing myself, but because I didn't feel the urge. My lunch portions got a little smaller naturally. Some studies show that increasing protein can lead people to eat fewer calories overall just because of its powerful effect on fullness. Now, for the part you're probably wondering about, the belly fat. Let's be real. 1 week is not enough time to see dramatic fat loss. However, the changes were noticeable. My clothes felt looser around my waist. The constant bloating I lived with was gone, making my stomach look and feel flatter. I got out the measuring tape and I had lost a full inch from my waist. Now, a good chunk of that was likely from losing water weight and de-bloating, not from shedding actual fat. But seeing that inch disappear was incredibly motivating. It was a tangible sign that something positive was happening. But beyond the numbers on the scale or the tape measure, the biggest change was mental. I felt like I was back in the driver's seat. Food was no longer the enemy. The constant war against cravings, the guilt from snacking, the frustration of being tired all the time, it all just quieted down. This one small change broke a cycle that had me in a headlock for years. The science suggests a possible reason for this. By starting my day with protein instead of a carb-heavy meal, I was likely avoiding a big blood sugar spike and the crash that can follow. That hormonal stability can be a foundation for everything else. The steady energy, the reduced cravings. It may all stem from giving your body the right fuel at the right time. The skeptic in me was officially silenced by my own experience. Addressing the challenges and providing solutions. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great, but is it actually doable? Hitting 30 grams of protein every morning sounds like a lot of work. And sometimes it can be. I hit a few snags myself, but I found that for every problem, there's a pretty simple fix. Challenge 1. I have no time. Most of us are not waking up with an hour to whip up a gourmet breakfast. Mornings are chaos. A 5-egg omelet is not happening. The solution: prep and no-cook options. This is the secret to making it work. You can't rely on cooking from scratch every morning. Meal prep. Bake a batch of egg muffins on Sunday. They keep perfectly in the fridge. 3 of them will get you near your protein goal, and they take a minute to reheat. No-cook wonders. A Greek yogurt parfait takes 3 minutes. A bowl of cottage cheese with fruit and nuts takes even less. These are your best friends on busy mornings. Challenge 2. How do I even get to 30 grams? This was a surprise to me. It's harder than it sounds. 2 eggs and a slice of bacon won't get you there. 3 large eggs are only about 21 grams of protein. The solution? Combine and conquer. You have to get strategic and layer your protein sources. Think in protein blocks. A large egg is 7 dries. Half a cup of cottage cheese is 14 dries. 1 scoop of protein powder is 25 dries. A cup and a half of Greek yogurt is 35 dries. Start mixing and matching. Have 3 eggs, 21 dries with a side of cottage cheese, 14 dries. Boom, you're at 35 dries. Add protein powder to oatmeal. Add Greek yogurt to a smoothie. Don't expect one food to do all the heavy lifting. Challenge 3, I'm so bored of eggs. Let's be real. Anyone would get tired of eating the same thing every day. Variety is the key to making this a habit that actually sticks. The solution: rotate your meals. Don't eat the same breakfast 2 days in a row. Try a simple rotation: savory day, scrambled eggs, an omelet or smoked salmon on toast. Sweet day: protein pancakes, a Greek yogurt parfait, or protein oatmeal. Liquid day: a well-made protein shake for when you're flying out the door. This simple rotation keeps things interesting so you don't burn out. Challenge 4. This sounds expensive. High-quality protein like grass-fed beef or fancy salmon can definitely be pricey. The solution: lean on budget-friendly powerhouses. You don't need to break the bank. Eggs, still one of the cheapest, highest quality protein sources out there. Cottage cheese and Greek yogurt. Buy the big tubs of the store brand. Per serving, they're incredibly cost-effective. Tofu and legumes. For plant-based folks, a tofu scramble is a fantastic, affordable option. You might also find you save money on morning pastries, expensive lattes, and vending machine snacks. This habit can sometimes end up paying for itself. Anticipating these hurdles makes it so much easier to turn this from a one-week experiment into a lifestyle. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent and finding what works for you. My one-week experiment started with a mountain of skepticism and ended with a total mindset shift. I found out that the buzz around eating 30 grams of protein in the morning wasn't just another empty health fad. For me, it was a simple but powerful biological lever. A lever that switched off my relentless sugar cravings, stabilized my energy, and silenced the constant food noise in my head. This isn't magic. It's about working with your body instead of against it. Instead of starting the day